What's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with my thoughts on the new Noir and Apollo Brown album entitled As God Intended. Let's get to it. Noir is a female MC coming out of Buffalo, New York. And I think we can all agree that Buffalo has really been the hot spot for new talent in hip hop over the last few years. This is actually my first time listening to one of her projects. However, I had heard her features with 38 Spesh, Flea Lord, Benny the Butcher, and El Camino. So I knew who she was and I thought that she was a dope spitter, but I never got around to checking out her solo work until now. So my first impressions of Noir is that she is a lyricist through and through. She actually has a lot of the components which I think make her a great MC. Number one, she's a natural storyteller. Number two, she's conscious yet street. So even though Shay talks some woke shit, she's also speaking on hustling, revenge, and just the overall grittiness that goes along with the streets. And number three, she also has that competitive spirit that I think all MCs must have. So there are times when Shay flexes her battle rap skills or just that overall slick talking ability. She seems very confident and mature for her age. I noticed that the tone to this album was a little serious and reflective. So if you are looking for female rappers that have more of that turn up energy, you won't find it on here. Even though there are some gritty moments throughout, I would say that the album has more of a grown up feel overall. And I think we can credit that to the Detroit producer Apollo Brown for providing the beats that fit this mature and classy sentiment. And while I've always had respect for Apollo Brown, I can't say that he's one of my favorite producers. This is no shade to him, but I feel that his production can sometimes be a little too tasteful for my liking. Like sometimes I just want to hear something more evil sounding or harder hitting. But yeah, this is still a very impressive debut from a female MC who I think has a lot to offer to the game. There are 14 tracks lasting at around the 50-minute mark. The features were all strong. We have Black Thought, Ty Ferris, Planet Asia, and Sky Zoo. So with that being said, let me get into a track-by-track breakdown. The intro track, Antisocial, has some gorgeous keys, boom bap drums, and smooth R&B vocals. I like the Ghostface scratches, catch me in the corner, not speaking. The beat is really elegant, but the bars are really hard. Shay states, can't walk in my shoes, you dudes can't even foot the bill, make music for you to ride to, smoke kush and chill, type of music you gotta be from the hood to feel. I like this track because even though it's ultra smooth, Shay is talking that gutter shit. She also calmly adds, look, kill them all, I put rappers in cemeteries, then go to your wake and autograph your obituaries. Man, she is cold-blooded, but I definitely thought this was a strong way to open up the project. The following record, Blood is Thicker, has a really dope soul sample and rugged drums. I was getting some Nas, I Gave You Power vibes. But instead of rhyming from the perspective of a gun, like Nas did in 1996, she rhymes from the perspective of the city of Buffalo and all the violence that comes with it. Her second verse was absolute fire. This was probably the grittiest beat from Apollo Brown on the tape. And I just wish there was more production like this throughout, but it's definitely one of my favorite songs. This is followed up by the Black Thought assisted Hustle Don't Give. This almost feels like some Ninth Wonder production, although I've noticed some similarities between Apollo's and Ninth Wonder style at times, but this track is all about hustling and staying motivated. While I thought Black Thought's verse was dope, I actually liked Shay's even more. She said, a long road to redemption that I drove with no license. It's a jungle that's controlled by sirens, but the hunter gonna be the hero until the story is told by the lion. Like, that's some deep shit. Next up, we have Money Orientated, which has some pristine keys and scratches from AZ's verse on Life's a Bitch. You know the one. My mentality is money orientated. I'm destined to live the dream for all my peeps who never made it. Shay's outlook on this track is essentially that money is the root of all evil. She states that she used to have ambitions for material riches, but in time she's learned that acquiring wisdom is much more valuable. So Shay is pretty much wise beyond her years. I like the keys and the AZ sample. This one is very smooth, but she is dropping some jewels. After that, we get 12 Hours, which is another one of my favorite songs on the tape. I love the suspenseful drum loop. It's very simple but captivating. This is the first real storytelling track. The first part of her story reminded me a little bit of A Tribe Called Quest the Jam, where they talked about getting ready for a party. But then as the song progresses, Shay kind of channels a more sinister tone, one that reminded me of Nas on Undying Love. Now, I won't give the story away, but it turned out a little different than I thought it would. Shay was definitely on some gangster shit here. It was very movie-like. Next up on Hold It Down, Shay links with Detroit rapper Ty Ferris. They basically discuss how they had to boss up just to make it out the slums. This is another soulful beat, but it's a little melancholy. Ty Ferris came through with some impressive lines like, bipolar thugs with phony hugs always hold a grudge. They will shoot with no conscience, then Jordan's shoulder shrug. This is followed up by Daddy's Girl. Shay gives an autobiographical look into what it was like growing up without a consistent dad. This kind of gives off a Nas's Black Girl Lost vibes, but we are hearing it from a woman's perspective. I like the dreamy keys as well as the vocal scratches from female rapper Nikki D. This is a heartfelt track in which Shay opens up about the emotional damage that she has incurred. I think it's a well-written and relatable track that you could at least empathize with if you haven't experienced personally. So this was another strong moment on the LP. Worth of Gold has some really simple but effective boom bap production. I could totally see Rakim dropping some knowledge over this beat. On here, I'm also picking up on her Buffalo accent, especially when she said, cherish that. It sounded exactly how Benny and Conway enunciate certain words. I just had to add that in. But yeah, this is another one of the more inward tracks where Shay is just speaking on her life and surroundings in Buffalo. The lyrics were pretty amazing overall, but I liked her descriptive imagery with Fiend's arms looking like NASCAR tire tracks. It just paints a crazy ill visual. I was kind of lukewarm about the following track, The Apple. This features Planet Asia, who devotes his verse to his daughter, and Shay talks about the strength of being a black woman. While I like the topics and the sentiment here, I just thought the production was a little too tame and kind of boring for me. On Freedom, Shay points out the disparities that exist in the criminal justice system for black people. It's a pro-black track that is pretty fitting for the times. The production was okay. It's not my favorite, but I thought it was good that she gave us some social commentary. Follow the Wisdom was another track that I was kind of on the fence about. I like the Scarface My Block scratches, and the Sky Zoo feature was alright, but I just thought the production was a little bland. Conversely, I liked the moody jazz production on Winter. There was this wind sound effect throughout, like you can just picture a snowy block in Buffalo while this beat plays in the background. But this is a relationship record, plain and simple. Conceptually, Shay is showing a lot of versatility with these topics. Next up on Live by the Code, Shay is back in her introspective bag over some really luxurious production. I like this beat because it sounds slightly more modern than some of the other ones. She talks using her pen to turn her thoughts into a pot of gold. She also recalls that black drug dealers was our Santa Claus. And the closing song, 94, is essentially Shay paying homage to the year 1994, which many hip hop purists regard as the greatest year in hip hop, period. Shay Talks being born on the same day that Nas dropped Illmatic and her mom telling her that the world is yours. So yeah, this was a trip down memory lane for Shay as she name drops some of the 90s and 2000s rappers that inspired her. The production here really matches that golden era vibe that Shay is channeling in her rhymes. Overall, I give this album a rating of 4 out of 5. Lyrically, this whole thing was fire. Now, not to compare, but I know people love Rhapsody and I think she's great, but I was way more into this project than any Rhapsody album or anything else that a female MC has dropped in recent memory. And I also know that the following take, which I'm about to give y'all, is probably unpopular, but that was that I really wished there would have been more variety to some of these beats. Like, I enjoyed about 75 to 80% of them. But personally, for me, I could have used some darker and punchier production or even like one upbeat commercial track. I think the style of beats used here will definitely go over very well with the conscious heads and purists. But at the same time, it could potentially just box her in as another underground rapper. But Shay, on the other hand, completely killed this. It's one heck of a debut that gave me some Illmatic energy at times. I hope people don't sleep on this record too much because there were definitely moments on here that I feel any true hip hop head is going to love and appreciate. My favorite tracks include Antisocial, Blood is Thicker, Money Orientated, 12 Hours, Daddy's Girl, Worth Gold, Winter, and Live by the Code. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section below. What would you like me to check out next? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Shay Noir, Apollo Brown, as God intended, one.